All right.
That is just a powerful story when you understand the reason why we're doing this Hemingway 365 is to understand the legacy, our history, and the impact we've had in this community. To hear that our own background has come from social justice, that we were heavily engaged in politics and things of that nature. Um, but I first met you at Hemingway when I was a kid, and I always, me and your son hit it off very well when we were younger. But you did something impactful for me, and I never forget that. You exposed me, and I remember having the opportunity of going to the Million Man March.
Yeah, and nobody got locked up, did it?
Nobody got locked
And
up. No,
there's all kind of colored people down
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Nobody got locked up. Them white folks come to town.
Right. Now, how? Tell me how significant that was for you to been here from the March on Washington in the '60s, or during the Poor People's Campaign. But then it's in this other Million Man March, and there was a lot of doubt. Can we really get a million black men into the nation's capital and let it be safe? It was a lot of. I remember it was such high security. I remember us being kids, and we got on the metro. We went down there. We had to wear these. We wore these Christian signs and everything. You had us out there. Tell me about that experience that you exposed, and I'm a benefit of that. You exposed me and other young brothers in the church to take that down and let us be a part of history.
Well, let me go back before that. I went to Martin Luther King's speech when he spoke down
Yeah.
there. Now, I wasn't telling you the truth. I wasn't going down there to hear no speech. I was going down there because that's where all the women were going, and that I was single then. Okay. Climbed up in the tree and looked out there, and there were just people all over it. And it was hot. I said, no, I got to leave this and that. The Million Man March, the Poor People's March here in Washington and that, I was involved in that. Matter of fact, quiet as it kept, many of them came up to Pitt's Motor Hotel. Instead of staying down on the ground and sleeping in tents, some of them folks were sleeping up in the hotel and that. And I met some of them up there and that. I've served 2 terms as the regional chairman of the NAACP. So I was actually involved in working in those organizations there. And it was just, Hemingway had to be there because that day with Albert Thornton and Sylvester Vaughn and numerous other, Wayne Curry, we all knew that we had to keep our young people involved and show them the way in there. And I enjoyed taking you in that. I didn't have to chase you. Yeah, you had some good home training in that, all right? All right, you listened to what I said to you. You might not agree with it, but you did it, and I got you back at home time. And I'm waiting. You had said you was going to come back at one time and take me to the next march
Yes,
down there. All right, but I think we're going to have to get some wheels there. My wheels ain't rolling
Yes,
that.
sir.
But
Yes,
it
sir.
was an interesting thing in that.
Wow, and that's just magnificent. So to hear, as we prepare to close, to hear a church with such rich history in our communities, social impact and social justice, um, how have we gotten away from that, and how do we get back to it? How do we get back to making the impact in our community, in our county, in our state? What you were telling me is that the black leaders of our county that we know today that are legends came through Hemingway.
Correct.
How do we get back to being that such strong impact for the movement of this new social movement?
Well, the key, because of the structure, I think, is through our lay organizations. We have to have strong lay organizations. I remember Miss Munyon, Brother Sutton, with our lay organization. We'd go to Annapolis. Our kids and our members knew how to lobby. They knew who to call. And people responded to us because not only did we tell them what we needed, we supported them and getting them to do what they needed to do. And we followed up on them. I would say, and I think I got this from Hemingway. I'm trying to think of her name. Read and follow directions. I don't think we do that now. Just like a lot of people are complaining about the vaccination and that. All right, I think we publicized that wrong because when I was a kid, my aunt caught polio. And the polio thing was a big old drum that you signed in. I think if they'd used, instead of a respirator, which the drum at that time was the same thing, I think if they used that drum, people would understand that if they wanted to stay alive and move forward in that, they needed to get a shot in that. But we just need to, I would say that we need to have organizations that would take kids and expose them, young people, and expose them on every level to how the political process works, how the law works. Right now, you got politicians coming around asking for your vote. Right now, we should be going up to Annapolis, seeing what the legislative process is, learn how a bill is written and how it gets passed in that, and bring young people involved in that along with the seniors, because we have different needs than you have. All right, I need my cane. You don't need the cane, but you need different needs in that. We've just got to. We had young people involved, and we still do.
Well, that is beautiful, and I want to thank you for being Hemingway 365. I want to thank you for being excellent. I want to thank you for your legacy. I want to thank you for all of your contributions, even the moments that were a mistake, but God still used it for your good. But because of you, we are, and we honor you today, and we say thank you as well. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
In the same token, though, I stand here. I couldn't do this without Little P.
All right. All right.
We a team. This ain't no.
Thank you.
One.
All right.
All right.
Well, that's good. Thank you so much.
All right. Now
that was powerful. That was powerful. Let me pray for you before we go. Heavenly Father, I thank you for Mr. Fred Price, God. I thank you for his life. I thank you for his legacy. I thank you for what you've done in his life, God. God, I thank you that you still have need for him, God. That even right now you're still fixing things. Even right now you're stepping in the domains of his children's generations to come. That they too will have this spirit of activists. They too will have a spirit of social reform and be uncomfortable with things that are not right. I thank you for everything you've done. I thank you for his legacy. I thank you for his life. And God, I celebrate him right now, God. And I pray that his wishes and his desires in his heart that you grant according to your purpose and your plan. In Jesus Christ's name we pray, amen.
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 You know who Ollie Dunlap is, don't you?
No, I know.
He was a Washington Redskin player.
Okay.
All right. And he might have played with your dad.
Yeah.
And when he left the Redskins, he was hired by Park and Planning to open up the community center in Palmer Park.
Okay.
All right. So the fire department, which was, Palmer Park Rec Center is. All right. Fire department was over in the shopping center next to it. They wanted to do bingo, but the only way they could do a bingo license, get a bingo license, would be that they saying they giving money to the community. Jinx Morton, Ollie Dunlap, and some others around the box, and I was president of the Boys Girls Club there. They invited me over for a pinochle game. Can you play?
Yeah.
All right.
We got to play one day.
What about bid?
Come on, play bid with us like crazy.
Oh, okay.
Come on,
yeah.
Uptown, downtown.
Yeah, Mayor Gray. Mayor Gray and the Fairmont Heights used to whoop me and my wife's butt all the time. We ain't never won. Anyway, during the peanut game, what they wanted to do, the fire department said, well, we will pay for a boxing program. All right, get equipment, and during the day, you can use it as boxing, and at night we can use it for bingo or whatever they were doing. I had these football teams in that. I'm trying to get uniforms for these football teams. I ain't interested in putting no boxing program together.
Wow.
All right. So we have this pinochle game. And they said, well, we got this kid. And I said, no, I ain't going. I'm not going to sign on no program. You're going to spend the money for the boxing and that. And they said, come on, Price, come on. We got a kid that can do it. I can't think of the kid's name. But the kid they had, after I agreed to it, they started the program. The boy broke his hand, and then he ended up going to jail because he killed the Christmas tree sales person in Palmer Park. Wow. Now, one when I was on the streets, they always taught me, you don't steal in your own neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we lost him, and Ollie said, no, we got another kid. Who is that? And it was Ray Leonard.
Wow.
And the rest of that is story. And Dunlap stuck with Ray Leonard all the way through his career, still to this day, and guided him. Ray and his wife had some problems. Dunlap was right there, step in to guide him. So now you don't want to do that, okay?
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
So he married a girl from Palmer Park too. So they split, but Ollie was able to guide Ray Leonard all the way through his life, and with the money, and just like I tell you, everybody was coming at him with a different story, do this, do that whole bit. And Ollie had always been his advisor and still an advisor now. And that was all from Palmer Park. So many good people came out of Palmer Park.
Wow, that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. See, you live in history, man.
I'm just old.